yesterday who was not called and who is here with us today. So Meredith Dowds. And I'm afraid I don't know your organization, one of the school districts,
Yes.
I believe.
Yeah, Columbus City Schools. I'm
Very
a
good.
parent.
Outstanding. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Vice Chairman Davila and members of the House Finance Committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Meredith Dowds, and I am a Columbus City Schools parent. I testify today responding to House Bill 96 regarding cutting school funds from my school district, Columbus City Schools. These funds are vital to our district to best serve students, staff, and families. My son has special needs. He attends full-day school through Columbus City Schools. He receives therapy and intervention at school, both crucial to keep him progressing, developing, and learning. He is fully capable of growing to an adult citizen someday who will contribute to and give back to his community as long as he has the supports he needs from a young age. A significant impact of the cuts include early childhood education programs where my son is currently enrolled. Our district is growing and progressing. We have unique needs and challenges. School funding is essential to increase, if anything, to help us continue to meet the needs of our students, especially with consideration to adjusting costs of educating a child in 2025 and beyond. House Bill 96 proposes to cut school funding a staggering number of over $45 million over the next 2 years. These cuts will put essential programs and services at risk. Our community voted in favor of our school levy because the majority saw the need for increased funds to continue to support our district's growth. The voters have already spoken on the matter of school funding needs for our district with strong support. This cut to school funding would negate that vote and the expressed will of the people. While many may rightly choose private education or homeschooling, public education is often the entry point of accessibility for many families, especially those with special needs children. Our city and community depend on our schools. I urge the House Finance Committee to consider the unjust weight and unnecessary burden placed upon staff, students, and their families if such school funds were cut. A government not willing to support the needs of its children and their future by cutting vital school funds is unacceptable in a democratic society. Our children are not here today to speak on this matter. We, the people, will make their voices heard. And I'm not an official representative for the district, obviously, but I would be happy to answer any questions you might have about how my son, I'm looking at a picture of him right now. He has, in this picture, made letter A with popsicle sticks, and he is sitting in a classroom with other children learning. Our family has been blessed by our school, and I would be happy to answer any questions personally to give testimony if you would like. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Dowd. Are there questions for the witness? Representative Glassburn. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And you know, a lot of folks who come and testify before us are, for lack of a better term, professionals or advocates in their field. We saw you sitting there all day yesterday, and you coming back today to really advocate for your child, and I appreciate you doing that. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Representative Pickle Antonio.
Great. She's great.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Thank you so much for coming back today. I know you, like Representative Glassburn said, I watched you sitting through all of our testimony yesterday. So thank you for being the fierce advocate and mom for your child. Can you just maybe elaborate a little bit about what kinds of services your son receives and the difference that it has made for him?
Absolutely, yes. My son has a neurological disorder and also known as autism, which is affecting many children today. Because it's a neurological disorder, it comes from the brain. Everything from the brain comes down. So it affected his speech, fine motor skills, gross motor skills, social skills, cognition, problem-solving skills. While he didn't experience significant developmental delays, it was enough that it was a global developmental delay, and he was not able to interact and perform functional tasks. So our family has chosen the route of public funding outstanding. He went through the Franklin County Board of DD first and now is in Columbus City Schools. He receives pragmatic speech goals and is now talking to his classmates. He receives occupational therapy and physical therapy at school. There's a growing number of children that are neurodivergent. The needs will continue to increase. And like I said, these children are fully capable of growing to become citizens that will contribute. They just need extra supports.
Brief follow-up, Chair?
Yes, please.
Thank you. And again, thank you for that, Meredith. You mentioned that Columbus voted on a school levy. I think that was last year.
Yes, in 2023.
Can you talk about what your expectations as a taxpayer, what were your expectations with how those levy dollars would be spent?
Yes. I would expect, thank you, through the chair to the representative, in addition to being a Columbus City Schools parent, I'm an early childhood educator typically when I'm not taking care of my child. The early childhood education program, specifically expanding those programs, is something that I would like to see happen with those tax dollars. The funds would need diverted from the tax levy to fill the gap if these funds are cut. And the early childhood education program is one that would be significantly impacted by the cuts. 3 to 5 years of age is a crucial window of development, and we need to ensure that these programs are not at risk.
Thank you.
Representative Plummer.
Thanks, Vice Chair. Thanks for grabbing me in the hallway. Sorry about the confusion. You spent your time here, but thanks for the Vice Chair for hearing me and letting you speak. This is the people's house, and as my colleague across the aisle said, we get a lot of professionals here, but it really helps when the people come here and talk to us from the heart. So thank you for your time and your patience, and we apologize for the inconvenience.
Well, that's okay. Thank you, Representative Plummer.
Representative White.
Thank you, Ms. Dowd, for coming in. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair. I had a question regarding transportation. So your child has special needs. You're certainly aware of other parents with special needs. Have there been issues with transportation for special needs children? And what does the legislature need to know about that?
Yes, so thank you. Through the chair to the Representative White, our family doesn't personally do public school transportation, so I will be honest that I don't know exactly how the legislation could potentially affect, but I do know that within our school district there is strong demand for transportation, and that will absolutely hinder children if the legislation would cut funding would cut the transportation in any way. We have a lot of children depending on that, as well as the meals provided. So,
Representative Hoops.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for your testimony and coming back. You know, one of the issues, I guess, out there is where you can find the services that you need for your child. And it sounds like the public education, Columbus City is really doing a great job doing that. Did you ever go try and find another area and found, you know, like a private charter or any type of school like that, and just found that they could not do it? And so has that ever entered your mind as a family to look at that? Mm-hmm. And then what was the results? Because it sounds like you really don't have to go looking, but did you ever do that?
Mm-hmm. Through the chair to the representative, thank you for that question. Yes, there is the autism scholarship available, and that's something that our family has looked into extensively. For my child's disability specifically, a lot of those providers in Ohio are ABA providers. That is a wonderful option for a lot of children that may want the applied behavior therapy. It can be an intensive therapy for a lot of children, and so right now the majority are ABA providers. There are actually not very many private schools in Franklin County that take the autism scholarship. Right now I'm aware of just about 2 or 3. So we're talking limited numbers of private schools. Now, our family would like for our son to be included with peers, which is one reason why we choose private school or public school. Public school is currently the most inclusive option that we have found to meet our son's needs where he falls on the spectrum. So we think that it is critical with the growing number of children that are neurodivergent that the funding stay with public schools to keep these children enrolled.
Can I have a follow-up?
Yes, please proceed.
You mentioned that you went to a private school, but they would not take could they have taken the the funds for that, but they decided not to do that? And why was that?
Through the chair to the representative, we haven't attended a private school, just that in the times that we have accessed the Department of Education website and looked at the providers that take the autism scholarship, there's just a very small number of private schools, just a couple that are not ABA providers, which again is a
Okay.
different form of education than a private public school. There's only a couple that we found in Franklin County that do take that scholarship. So there's also the issue of numbers of private schools for children with autism
Okay.
available to families.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Johnson.
Thank you for your determination to come speak with us. And my family has an autistic grandson, and he is a very intelligent young man. And it's alarming the number of autism that keeps increasing instead of decreasing in our country. And I think more research needs to be done in that, what's causing this and why. But I too am concerned about cuts to the NEDD program myself, because, it hits me too. And I admire your passion, and maybe we need to put some parameters and guidelines and guardrails to protect people like your son. So thank you. No follow-up.
Thank you, Representative Johnson.
Representative White had a follow-up.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Ms. Dowd. My question is, my understanding is the John Peterson Scholarship and the Autism Scholarship can be used by families, perhaps the John Peterson more, in public schools to get additional therapies and services that their schools aren't providing. So I'm going to take a look at that, but if there are services that your public school isn't able to provide that you could benefit as a family member from, because you've obviously looked at this, if you would follow up with my office, because I'm interested in looking at making sure that scholarship is as flexible as possible for our families with kids with special needs, which a lot of us are touched by that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Representative Baker.
Thank you, Vice Chair, and thank you for testifying. I think we're all excited to have a non-professional person here, so we appreciate your passion and your advocacy. So something that you answered in Rep. Johnson's question, it made me start thinking, can you talk a little bit about your comment on the inclusive environment of public education and beyond the academic benefits of choosing public education for your son, other benefits for being in an inclusive environment, both to him and to his classmates that you've seen? Thanks.
Yes, thank you. Through the chair to the representative. So at Columbus City, I can just share the answer to that question, describing what we're considering for placement for our son for next year, that he would be enrolled in a general education classroom with peers. That would be crucial to his social development and learning because he learns from observation of others. That's actually very important for children on the spectrum. They learn from modeling and watching what other people do. So for him to be enrolled in a general education classroom with a large number of neurotypical students is beneficial to his development. It's also beneficial for the neurotypical children to be paired with neurodivergent children because, as I said, there are so many more children that learn and interact in a different way, and we're all capable of adjusting a little bit. But with the general education classroom, there's a lot more pushing into the classrooms to keep the children in the room. So for Columbus City, I know that the kindergarten program specifically where we're looking for our son, they are bringing the intervention specialists into the rooms as much as possible to keep the children in the room with their peers. Yeah.
Representative Young.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And actually, you are the best expert because you're a mom, right?
Thank you.
And I thank you very much for coming. And your story is touching, and we get it. I mean, we do. We work in an environment that has parameters, obviously, and they're on both sides of the aisle here. We feel for what you are going through. My question is, I want to go back, and I know that if the team that is working with your child if they include the sped transportation with the IEP, are you saying that he does not have an IEP?
Through the chair to the representative, my son does have an IEP.
Okay, but the team, if the team, it's a federal law, but if the sped transportation is an agreement, and his team should put that element into his IEP for transportation. You might want to bring that up. I don't know if you have or if they've discussed that. That's an essential part of that SP program.
Yes. Through the chair to the representative, thank you. And I definitely think that I will bring that up. My family specifically doesn't need the transportation, but I think that that's really important for me to share with other families that do perhaps need the transportation. So
A follow-up?
Yes, please proceed.
How old is your son?
he's 6.
Okay, so as he gets older, that may be something that's needed. Right now, I know you want to hold him as close, and I agree, hold him close, right? But that might be something you want to ask about that program.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Further questions? Representative Sims.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Although everyone already asked my question, but the most important question I wanted to say was thank you for being here today. Your voice is powerful, and I'm sure you'll inspire other people to do the same. But I just wanted to highlight what you were talking about students being in a diverse, equitable, and inclusive environment that allows them to grow, I think, because that's the piece that's often missing. Mm-hmm. Your son grows because he's accepted. He feels like he's in a part. He's not having to learn in isolation because he's different. So I thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Representative Sims.
Well, thank you, Ms. Stout, for joining us today. I think you can tell by the robust participation of the committee that we really value your participation.